All right, let's begin. So, Khazrak the One-Eye, of course, starts here. His lore details. He starts with, you can see he has a much better starting army. He starts with a unit of Gore Herd, Minotaurs, Ungor Spear Herd, Ungor Raiders, Razorgore Chariots, and a Bestigore Herd. Here are his starting effects. I don't believe any of them have changed, really. Malagor the Dark Omen starts with a Manticore, a Giant, Ungor Spearmen, Harpies, Ungor Raiders, and Ungor Herd. Here are his effects. I don't believe they've changed that much. Morgur the Shadowgave, who's now over in Astalia, you'll note has a unit of Razorgore Chariots, Chaos Spawn, Ungor Herd, Centaurs, Ungor Spearman Herd, and Ungor Raiders. Here are his starting effects. Maps. I mean, you already know where they are. Do I have to? Oh, okay, whatever. Let's just play it safe than sorry. So you see he's here in Astalia. Go back to Malagor. He's still down the marches of madness.
Joins the red host.
Taurux, the Brass Bull, starts with a unit of Minotaurs, Chaos Warhounds, Ungor Raiders, Ungor Herd, and Ungor Spearmen. He is the army. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the stats menu on this. Don't pay attention to that. Here's the map. You see he still starts up in Nagara. No, so here's the thing. Most starting armies no longer have tier 5 units. Almost every single starting army in the game that has a tier 5 unit, the tier 5 units are gone. They got removed. The starting armies were significantly nerfed in the vast majority of cases. A lot of the time you're gonna get like more units, but you no longer get big boys. So there's no starting Gorgon for Taurux. Bretonnia
and honor.
Lewin Laenker, of course, starts in Khorne, as always. And he's got the Knights of the Realm, Knights Errant, Peasant Bowmen, Spearmen at Arms, and Pegasus Knights. You'll notice that Lewin Laenker has expanded buffs for his personal army, where he has a lot of buffs. He just hates bad guys. He just hates bad guys. He gets bonuses against all chaos, undead, and greenskins.
Yotam 9 cheered. X100. I just saw Gorst gives his army immunity to contact effects. Does Tenuan get anything similar?
No, he does not. Not right now. Because there's not. I have been petitioning very hard for that, but it hasn't happened yet. Also, fun fact. If y'all want to know like why the characters are where they are and get like just the tiniest little idea of what they're doing, they include these little like 1 to 2 sentences structures down here. So it says, Khazrak terrorizes the Empire's northern forest, making blood grounds of the Dracold once more. Malagor revels in the ruins of the Badlands to remind his followers of what will come to pass if they fulfill his desires for destruction.
Inquisitor Thomas cheered. X100. It's finally lunchtime and I can finally watch. What did I miss?
A lot. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Discord.
Morgur the Shadowgave, reborn once more.
How is Immortal Empires on your PC?
It runs great. It runs absolutely great, and it's not stressful on my PC at all, to be honest. But I have a very, very good PC. Very good. Reborn once more, Morgur's ruinous cycle of madness and destruction begins anew in the forests of Astalia. Tarux's latest rampage has led him on a stampede through Nagara to Klar Karand, where he begins his new blood grounds. King Lewin rides out from Khorne with the blessings of the Lady to eradicate evil from Bretonnian's lands and beyond.
Blessings of the Lady be upon you.
The Duke of Bordelot embarks upon his long...
Escapist_gaming cheered. X100. Did the victory conditions for multiplayer get a little bit better?
I don't know yet. I will check that out later today. I'll ask one of the other content creators to hop on with me, and I will double check that for y'all. I've been asked that multiple times, so I won't forget. The Duke of Bordelot embarks upon his long-desired Grail quest for the Bretonnian colony of Brionne on the coast of Lestria. And he starts with foot squires, peasant bowmen with pox arrows, knights of the realm, and men-at-arms with shields.
Do all those settlements in very narrow passes fully block
Yes. I will shush donation or the messages for now, though I am looking at them. Do all the settlements in the very narrow passes fully block travel? Most of them do, yes. Not all of them, but most of them. So here's the starting army. You'll note that he still has his immunity to ocean attrition, high income from ports. You can see here's Brion right here. Bordelot. And Bordelot Errant is his new faction name. He's not Bordelot, he's Bordelot Errant. Now, lore page.
I protect Bretonnia.
The Fey Enchantress, who still has her Blessed Field Trebuchet, Battle Pilgrims, Peasant Bowmen, Spearmen at Arms, Peasant Mob, Grail Guardians, and Men at Arms. The Fey Enchantress channels the lady to wield powerful magic against all threats to her home of Carcassonne. I think she actually probably has the best starting army of the Bretonnians. Here she is on the map in Carcassonne. Rapunzel walks in the footsteps of ancient errantry knights amongst the coast of Araby's haunted dunes, smiting Bretonnia's enemies in the lady's name. Starting army is spearmen at arms with shields, questing knights, peasant bowmen, men at arms with pole arms, knights of the realm, foot squires, and field trebuchets. Here are her bonuses. Here she is on the map. The Daemons of Chaos. The Demon Prince enters the Forest of Decay in the Northern Chaos Waste, where he will compete with Archaon himself for the ultimate leadership of Chaos. And spoiler, he's gonna get his ass kicked. His starting army is Bloodletters, Nurglings, Blue Horrors of Tzeentch, Seekers of Slaanesh, Chaos Warhounds of Khorne, Plague Drones of Nurgle, Demons of Slaanesh, and Pink Horrors of Tzeentch. Here are his effects. Here he is in the Forest of Decay. Looking Yuri.
I will have my vengeance.
Malekith! In his capital Nagorond, Malekith has brought his rebellious dreadlords to heel and now sets about bringing the entire world under his dominion. He gets plus 50% allegiance points now for all alliances with Dark Elves, meaning that it is much easier for him to take control of allied Dark Elf armies, recruit units from them if you want to do that, requests for them to attack, defend, or occupy ruins. So he's much better at ordering Dark Elves around. He also has diplomacy with Dark Elves, plus loyalty, upkeep reduction for many different kinds of units, and some nice lord effects. His starting army are Dark Shards, Cold One Chariots, Dread Spears, Bleak Swords, and the Black Guard of Nagorond. No more XP drain. Yep, no more XP drain. Here he is on the map, Nagorond. All right. Hand check! Hand check! Morothy's here. Banished to the ancient city of Quintex, Morothy works her plans for world domination far south from the prying eyes of Nagorond. So Morothy, as you can see, is all about that Slaanesh, baby. She starts with Witch Elves, Dread Spears, Demonettes of Slaanesh, and Shades. You can see she spreads Slaanesh corruption, which the higher Slaanesh corruption you have, the harder your slave population gets to work. She also can recruit Demonettes, has cheaper hero action costs, cheaper construction for sorcery buildings faction-wide, and all characters spread Slaanesh corruption. Then there are her lord effects. Here she is on the map in the ancient city of Quintex with the Cult of Pleasure. Why'd she get banished? Probably because Malekith caught her sleeping with a demon or something, and he was like, Mom, you're like 8,000 years old, get out of the house. All right.
We will drown this world.
Harganeth, city of Cain, seeks war, and thus Hellebrand goes forth to wage it and demand the world's submission. So, her starting army are Dread Spears, Dark Shards, Sisters of Slaughter, Bleak Swords, and Harganeth Executioners. You'll notice that some of her stuff has changed. She captures more casualties, cheaper slave costs for sacrifice to Khorne or Cain, and she now gets a base income from slaves, which is not a thing anymore. So the slave system has been completely overhauled. We will take a look at that here in a little bit, but the slavery system is very different. It is not like it used to be. There is no longer, you have a hard cap on how many slaves you can have based on how big your empire is and how upgraded your settlements are. Slaves do not passively generate income unless you have certain buildings, but some of the buildings you have get stronger or generate bonus income if you have over a certain amount of slaves. No, she still has the Blood Knights. She does still have Blood Knights. Here she is on the map. Lokir Fellheart. Lokir Fellheart, the Kraken Lord, has sailed to High Shai on the coastline of distant Cathay, seeking to plunder the wealth and riches of this exotic land. You can see that he also passively generates income from slaves, which is very nice. His starting army are Dread Spears, Black Ark Corsairs, Feral Manticore, Black Ark Corsairs with handbows, and Dark Shards with shields. Here he is on the map with the Blessed Dread.
Darkblade comes.
Malice Darkblade. In search of the true Warp Sword of Cain, Malice Darkblade wanders through the maddening chaos wastes to the Black Rock. See, he's still got all of his goodies. His starting army is Bleak Swords, Dread Spears, Scourge Runner Chariots, Dark Shards, Cold One Knights, and a Bloodwrack Medusa. Malice, super fucking fun to play now. Also, Malice's possession bonuses have been reworked. The more possessed you are as Malice, the more bonuses you get with Demons of Slaanesh. The less corrupted you are, the more bonuses you get with Dark Elves, generally speaking. Here he is on the map. You do still start control with your home city, and you can choose to sell it to Malekith for a lot of money, or not to Malekith, but to the AI faction for a lot of money, or you can keep it and have a dual start. I do have water, I just need to remember to drink it more. Is Alariel Settlement still a Wood Elf Forest for the mechanic? Yes.
Rakarth will not be...
Rakarth, everyone's favorite villain. The Beast Lord has reached the Great Turtle Isle off the coast of Lustria in search of ever greater monsters to enslave to his will. So here you can see all of his goodies. Rakarth, if you haven't heard, also has access to new beasties. Rakarth can now recruit, I believe, 2 different kinds of bear units. You can get regular bears and ice bears. You can also get saber tusks. His starting army is Dread Spears, Bleak Swords, Reaper Bolt Throwers, a War Hydra, and Shades with Great Swords. Here he is on the map. Next up, the Brave Dowie. High King Thorgrim continues his Age of Reckoning, setting out to crush those with unanswered transgressions, starting with those in the shadow of Everpeak itself. So, Thorgrim Grudgebearer. Here are all his lovely little buffs. He starts with Dwarf Warriors, Hammerers, Miners, Quarrelers, Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, a Gyro Bomber, and Longbeards. So Thorgrim's got a pretty sexy starting army. Is this going on YouTube later? Yes. Here's his start position, right fucking smack in the middle of the mouth. Map. Who the hell just... Hold on, let me make sure that wasn't important. Okay. Assuming that was an accident. Next up.
The Slayer in me.
The Slayer King! Ungrim Ironfist returns to Slayer Keep to put to death all who threaten the sanctity of Karakadrin and the surrounding dwarf holds. Here are his buffs. You can see he also has a very sexy starting army now. Slayers, Quarrelers with great weapons, Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes, Thunderers, and Dwarf Warriors. Beautiful.
Peasant!
When you need that extra bit of anti-large right at the start. Here he is on the map. Yeah, try me now, Azhag. Belagar Ironhammer. Belagar plots his campaign to reclaim his birthright, the kingdom of Kadak Eight Peaks, from the mountain hold of Zadak Zil. Here are his starting traits. His army consists of dwarf warriors, miners, rangers, and hammerers. Here's his starting position. That arrow is slightly off. Actually, no, that's where his army starts. Now I think about it. No, that's right. I'm just dumb. What was the bonus? What's that thing for Ungrim? Journey's End? This is from Mortal Empires, but basically, Slayers can't die until their health is below a certain percent. The White Dwarf ventures to the Dracula Spire in Naggaroth, seeking to settle a grudge with the Lord of Naggarund, almost as ancient as his own beard. His starting army: miners, hammerers, quarrelers, dwarf warriors, thunderers, gyrocopter with brimstone gun, and iron drakes, the ancestral throng. And that 20% buff faction wide against elves is now very good. Here he is on a map.
Thorek, master of ancient lore.
After reclaiming the lost dwarf hold of Kadak Zorn, Thorek continues his great quest to recover the lost relics of his kind. The glorious one and only Thorek Ironbrow. His starting army is Iron Breakers, dwarf warriors, longbeards with great weapons, quarrelers, and grudge throwers. Here is his starting effects. Here he is on the map. I think you have the buff army for player mod on. I do not. I do not.
Sigmar's will.
Karl Franz! Here are his effects. Karl Franz retains his Hysene Altdorf at the heart of the Empire as threats new and old close in on all sides. His starting army is great swords, handgunners, Reiksguard, mortars, swordsmen, and halberdiers. Here he is on the map. Also, fun fact, they fixed the defeat trait for defeating Karl Franz. If you kill Karl Franz, instead of causing terror against the Empire, you now get, I believe it's 15% bonus experience for that lord that defeated him for the rest of the campaign.
Who calls?
Balthazar Gelt is sent to the Empire's southern border by Karl Franz to stabilize the hinterlands and tame the world beyond with might and magic. He starts with Outriders, Swordsmen, Great Cannons, Crossbowmen, Spearmen, Great Swords, and Mortars. Here he is on the map.
Elites, gather.
Marcus Wolfhart. Making camp in the Temple of Kara, Marcus Wolfhart answers the Emperor's call to reaffirm the Empire's foothold in Lustria. Here are his starting effects. Spearmen, Swordsmen, War Wagons, Archers, Halberdiers, and Huntsmen is his starting army. Here he is on the map. Did I say Wolfric? I meant Marcus Wolfhart.
By the Heldenhammer.
By the Heldenhammer, Volkmar the Grim. Volkmar's seal has taken him to Soonberg on the very border of the great desert of Araby, where he aims to cleanse the world of corruption, heresy, and undeath. Here are his bonuses. His starting army: Empire Knights, Flagellants, Great Swords, Crossbowmen, Swordsmen, Mortar, Halberdiers, and Handgunners. And you can get the books in the gash, baby. They give you some pretty sexy buffs. Here he is on the map. Do the factions with forging get new stuff to craft with tusks now? I don't think so. I don't think they've added new items yet. They might do that in the future. Grand Cathay! Miao Ying fulfills her duty to defend the great bastion of Cathay from her home in Nangao. Here are her buffs. Her starting army is Celestial Dragon Crossbowmen, Jade Warriors, Jade Warrior Crossbowmen, a Sky Junk, and Peasant Long Spearmen. Here she is on the map. Zhao Ming, the Iron Dragon.
Of dragon.
The Iron Dragon spreads his power in western Cathay, striking out from Qiang to head off belligerent dissenters and emboldened enemies. Here are his buffs. His starting army is Peasant Long Spearmen, Jade Warriors, Peasant Archers, Fire Rain Rockets, and Great Longbow Riders. Here he is on the map. Okay, so a quick thing about quest battles, guys. They got rid of quests. When you get a high enough level to do a quest battle, you immediately get access to the quest battle, and they've changed the text bubble that comes with it. So it basically gives you all the relevant information about the lore behind what's going on immediately. There's no more questing. So Volkmar does not wander to Kislev. Manfred doesn't do all that crazy shit to activate his items. You just immediately go fight the quest battle. I personally am not a huge fan of it, but it does make things a lot simpler. They got rid of some of the like RPG-ish elements were removed to just simplify things. I will say this though, ultimately I do think it's a good thing, because let's be frank, guys, a lot of the quests were just buggy as fuck. And the quest battles are still a lot of fun, but like a lot of the quests just didn't work, or they would break between patches and then you just couldn't get that item. Looking at you, Lokir Felhart. So they've fixed it. That no longer happens. You now, whenever you hit level whatever, you immediately get the quest battle and you can go fight it whenever you want. I don't know if that's true for Norscan monster hunts. I have not checked that. I have to go check. I have to check Norsca monster hunts.
I'm the one true gift.
Greenskins. Grimgor has returned east to Saber Mountain in the Mountains of Morn, where he readies a mighty Wah to spill into the Darklands and Cathay beyond. Here are his faction effects. His starting army is Goblin Archers, Orc Boar Boy Biggins, Orc Boys, Doomdiver Catapults, and Black Orcs. Here he is on the map. Azhag has marauded into the northern World's Edge Mountains after some stunties to discover they have been... Thank you for the wall. Azhag has marauded into the northern World's Edge Mountains after some stunties to discover they have been usurped by ogres and rival war bosses, who he's happy to dispatch anyway. Here are his bonuses. His starting army are Orc Boys, Rock Globbers, Trolls, Orc Biggins, and Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Here he is on the map. I forgot to show the Galleon's graveyard. No, I didn't. You just missed that part. Scarsnick. Scarsnick plunders the wealth of mighty Mount Gunbad, gathering greenskin allies as he prepares for the journey through the World's Edge Mountains to Karak 8 Peaks. Here are his effects. His starting army is an Arachnarok Spider, Night Goblin Fanatics, Night Goblins, Goblin Archers, Night Goblin Squighoppers, and Goblin Spears. Here he is on the map.
Great prophet.
Wurzag brings his prophetic influence to the Badlands to guide the Savage Orcs of Ekron towards their next mighty Wah. Here are his effects. He starts with Savage Orc Error Boys, Savage Orcs, Savage Orc Boar Biggins, and Savage Orc Boar Boys. Here he is in Ekron.
Goblin King.
The Goblin King with the dabbing Night Goblin. Having dominated the low-lying Bretonnian mountain range of Massive Orcal, Grom casts his gluttonous attentions onto the wider world. Here are his effects. His starting units are Stone Trolls, River Trolls, Orc Error Boys, Goblins, Snotling Pump Wagons with spiky rollers, and Goblin Rock Lobbers. Here he is on the map. Next up, the High Elves.
Heir of an Aryan.
In Etaine's Phoenix Court, Prince Tyrion is entrusted to secure a beleaguered Ulthuan and bring the world under High Elf protection once again. Here are his effects. His army is Spearmen, Lothern Sea Guard, a Flamespire Phoenix, and Silver Helms with shields. Here he is on the map. We're not even halfway there, Jesus. 3 ads, it's okay, we'll wait. All the people with subs are like, ha, ads sounds like a peasant problem. Does Hanyu Port have a port? Yes. Hanyu Port is a port, and you can sail to it because it's connected to the ocean through the rivers. Sailable rivers, baby.
Peasant! Peasant!
All right. On to Teclis.
Teclis, Lord Master of Hoeth.
Hearing of chaos incursions from the southern waste, Teclis has moved to Sotek's Trail in the Southlands to support the beleaguered Asur colonies to the south. You can see Teclis has actually received a couple of interesting changes. His starting, he gets 50% reduced ally recruitment costs faction-wide. So that means any time that Teclis recruits an allied unit from a allied faction, so like let's say you recruit a unit of Temple Guard or a unit of Dwarf Hammerers or any of those, they are 50% cheaper to recruit, which is great. So Teclis is all about building allied armies. And of course he's got all those sexy diplomacy buffs with all the order factions. His starting army is Tirnoch Chariots, Archers, Spearmen, Frostheart Phoenix, Swordmasters of Hoeth, and an Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. Here he is on the map. What are the lore tab? The lore tab gives you just a lot of lore about the character, which is nice. It's very good. It also gives you lore about the faction and like how they play and stuff. Does he still have the Phoenix mount? I bet you he does.
This world,
As much as I hate it. Alariel. Alariel ventures from Avalorn's borders, mustering her cavalcade amongst the groves of the Gain Vale on Ulthuan's Island of Rebirth. Her starting army is Illyrian Reavers, Dryads, Spearmen, Sisters of Avalorn, Treekin, and Archers with light armor. Here she is on the map. Next up,
We are the legacy of Nagaryth.
Alithanar. Alithanar's thirst for vengeance takes him to Karankar to lift the pall of despair on the Slaver's Gate. Here are his effects. His starting army is Spearmen, Shadow Warriors, Archers, Shadow Walkers, and a Great Eagle. Here he is on the map. He's probably, don't get too used to him being here because he's probably going to get moved very, very soon.
I am sworn to avenge.
Here's Eltharion. Moored in the Black Gulf off the coast of the Jeopardous Badlands, Eltharion prepares to strike directly at the heart of the Orc and Goblin menace. Here are his effects. His starting army is the Athotamara Faith Bearers, Archers, Silvern Guard, Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, and Spearmen. Here he is on the map. Though he also, this is not actually correct. His starting army is actually down here. So his starting army is off the coast of the Badlands, but he also still has control of Yivris. So you immediately start fighting in the Badlands.
I was born for
Emmerich.
glory.
Encamped in the fortress of Vorag, Emmerich ventures into the Darklands in search of mighty drakes to help him restore Kalidor's eminence in the world. Here are his effects. His starting army is Archers, Spearmen, Dragon Princes, and a Sun Dragon. Here he is on the map. Moving on to Khorne. Driven by his endless rage and bloodlust, Skarbrand wages war against the savage orcs of the Badlands, piling up their skulls at Death Gorge. Here are his effects. He starts with Bloodletters, Chaos Warriors of Khorne, and Chaos Warhounds. The end. Here he is on the map. Moving on. Kislev.
Absolute.
The Ice Queen rules with a frozen fist from the capital of Kislev. The starting army doesn't show redundant units. That could be true, but also, you know, I don't think you need that many. I don't think he needs all that many troops. He's kind of a beast on his own. Faction effects. Here's all that. Starting army. Winged Lancers, Kossars, Armored Kossars with great weapons, Ice Guard, and a Snow Leopard. Here's the map. Kostalton. The Supreme Patriarch holds Erengrad, purging the faithless and unworthy from all the lands of Kislev. Here's faction effects. He starts with Threltsi, Kossars, Horse Archers, Light War Sleds, and Kossovite Dervishes. No more Ice Bear. Do you still have to unlock Boris? I honestly have no idea. Here's his start position. Boris Ursus! Not content with securing Kislev borders alongside his daughter, Boris Ursus marches into the Chaos Waste to the Tower of Torment to bring the fight to the Warriors of Chaos. Here are his faction effects. He also, there's actually here's a new effect that's actually really nice. Settlements in the Chaos Wasteland climates receive reduced climate penalties and generate devotion. So whenever Boris Ursus takes a settlement with Chaos Wasteland climate, he just passively is generating devotion every turn. And he also, it's still not friendly climate to him, but he takes less severe penalties. So if you want to go Doom Guy with Boris, you can, but it's not easy. It's a hard campaign. His starting army is Warbear Riders, Zargard, and Armored Kossars. Here he is on the map. Lizardmen. Oh, so many Lizardmen. All right. So Mazda Mundi has gotten some new Lord effects. Mazda Mundi is a much scarier wizard now. Lord Mazda Mundi is fully roused in Hexwaddle, City of the Sun, ready to wage war on all who bring the great plan into discordance. All of the Slaanesh have received notable upticks to their magic capacity. His starting army: Temple Guard, Kroxagor, Saurus Warriors, Skin Cohorts with Javelins, and a Bastiladon with a Revivification Crystal. But yes, 50% increased range for spells, plus 15 base magic capacity. Cool stuff. Here he is on the map. No, they did not change his spells. His spells are still the same. I've been kind of thinking about it. Like, personally, I kind of think it would be worth changing out one of his spells for Soul Quench, but I'm not sure which spell to get rid of. Krokkar, you'll notice, has some sexy new faction effects. Krokkar, ever the consummate defender, sallies from the Golden Tower to protect the Southlands from the forces of destruction. He's got Saurus Spears, Skink Cohort with Javelin, Kobolin Spear Riders, Blessed Saurus Warriors with Shields, so the perfect Vigor ones, and a Feral Stegodon. And you can see minus 15% upkeep for all armies led by Old Bloods. Scar Veterans and Old Bloods get bonuses whenever you build Saurus or Scar Vet buildings. Plus 1% weapon strength to all Saurus and Old Bloods per character rank that they have. So that will build up to 40% when they're max level. And plus 30% bonus experience for all Scar Veterans and Old Bloods faction wide. He is the Saurus character faction. If you like Old Bloods and you like Scar Vets, that's your man. Here is his start position. Oh, is 50 the max level? Yeah, whatever. Y'all, you know. I don't fucking... Alright. Tehenuin. Having gained the recognition of the mage priest of Slaanesh, the prophet now invokes Sotek through mass sacrifice to secure Lustria's deliverance. Here are his buffs. He starts with a unit of Kroxigors, Skink Skirmishers, Salamander Hunting Pack, Red-Crested Skinks, and a Bastillodon with the Ark of Sotek. Here he is on the map. The new Sacrificial Pyramid is so much better because you get blessed units now instead of the fucking Regiments of Renown. It's much nicer. Tic-Tac-Toe. Tic-Tac-Toe, fearless master of skies, takes flight from the temple city of Tlaqua to vanquish all who pose a threat to the Southland's treasures of the Old Ones. Here are his buffs. His starting army is Pterodon Riders, Skink Cohort, Horned Ones, Skink Skirmishers, and Pterodon Riders with Fire Leech Bolas. Here he is on the map. Next up is Gorok. In Itza, the first city of the Lizardmen, Gorok stands at the helm of Lustria's martial might in the jungle continent's heartlands. You can see now that as a faction effect, whenever you are defending a settlement, all the units in your settlement get 500 barrier hit points. So they have the Tzeentch system. He also gets plus 500 defensive supplies whenever he's under siege. Here are his Lord effects and his faction effects. Also, his Rite of Resilience now gives barrier instead of unbreakable to Saurus. He's got Skink Hordes with javelins, Saurus Warriors with shields, Saurus Warriors with spears, Saurus Warriors with shields, and then Bastillodon with Rev Crystal. Here is his start position. Yeah, he's got chunky Saurus in his army. Nakai. Nakai emerges from the vast jungles of Xi'an in Cathay, seeking to crush the servants of darkness who have taken root in the far east. Here are his faction effects. He's got Kroxigors, Saurus Warriors with shields, Sacred Kroxigors, and a Stegodon. Here he is on the map. Also, I will say, Nakai is so fun now. He is so fun now. Genuinely one of my favorite campaigns. I'm not even fucking with you. I'm being totally honest. Now, whenever you dedicate settlements, not only do you get much better buffs because they reorganized what the buffs are and what they do, but also all of the buffs also buff Nakai personally. So like one tree buffs all Saurus, Skinks, and Kroxigors now instead of just Saurus and Skinks. But it also buffs Nakai. And then the middle one buffs all beast creatures in your army and Nakai. And then the right tree buffs all your magic and Nakai. And he literally becomes a god. Like it's terrifying how strong he gets if you build up enough settlements. Yes, he's from the Hunter and the Beast expansion. Oxiodal, who we will be playing today once we finally actually get to playing, but we're still going through all the changes. Oxiodal continues to wage war against the Demons of Chaos from the Godless Crater in the uncharted southern wastes. Here are his buffs. He gets a lot of bonuses when fighting against the forces of chaos, like lots more experience. Skink Cohorts, Chameleon Stalkers, Chameleon Skinks, and a Feral Bastillodon are his starting armies. Are the Blessed units recruitment still RNG what turns up? Generally speaking, yes, but Nakai and Tehenuin can purchase Blessed units using their own faction mechanics, so like they get to pick whatever ones they want, in addition to the ones you get from quests. And there's his start position. Do you need all the DLCs for these characters? You only need the DLC for like the relevant character if you want to play as them, or you want the units from their DLC. So like if you want to play as Oxiodal, you need to have access to, you need to have purchased the Silence and the Fury.
My challenge? Undeniable.
Norsca. The World Walker's journey to his next duel begins from the fjords near the Norscan monolith of Bjorkil the Bloody-Handed. Here is faction effects. He has Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, Marauder Champions, Marauder Berserkers, Marauders with great weapons, and a Feral Mammoth. Here he is on the map. I do want to show y'all some Norsca stuff before we get into our normal gameplay time. Throg. The Troll King comes to the Monolith of Flesh on the frozen shores of Norsca, where he will usher in the Age of the Beast. Here are his effects. His starting army is Norscan Ice Trolls, Norscan Trolls, Marauders with great weapons, Marauders, and Norscan Ice Wolves. Here he is on the map. Norsca has not received a full rework now, but they are significantly better. They are so much better. Nurgle. Kugoth has sailed to Dragonfang Mount, drawn by the promises of the putrid sludge near the mouth of the River Ruin. Here are his faction effects. His starting army is Plague Drones with Death Heads, Nurglings, Chaos Furies of Nurgle, Plague Bears of Nurgle, and Plague Toads. Here he is on the map. Ogre Kingdoms. Greasus, the shockingly obese, has been sleeping off his recent feasting in Kalakrakaten and the Mountains of Morn. Here are his faction effects. His starting army is Ogre Bulls with dual weapons, Man-Eaters, Noblars, Noblar Trappers, Ogre Bulls, and Iron Guts. Here he is on the map. I love Greasus, but there are some things about Greasus that need to change. But I'll talk about that at a later date. There's a couple characters who I think need like an animation pass, like some tweaking, and he's definitely on that list. Scrag. Driven by visions of the Great Maw, Scrag has encamped in Myrmidons and roams the border princes, seeking to feed his insatiable appetites for war and meat. His starting army is Noblars, Gorgers, Ogre Bulls, Sabertusk Pack, Noblar Trappers, and Ogre Bulls with dual weapons. And they're down here. As someone who's Mongolian, I really wish they just made the Ogre Lords less haha make fun of fat Mongolian people. If it makes you feel better, technically the faction I would say is the most heavily inspired by like actual like Mongolian history would actually be the Hobgoblin Khanate. But I don't know if that's better or worse. I'm based on, or they made my culture into Dark Elves, so eh.
Clan most triumphant, yes.
I love ogres, though. I'm biased. Queek schemes from the Misty Mountain at the very edge of the Dwarf Holds, making ready to settle his scores with the Stunties. Americans are high elves? That is not correct. I can tell you that. All right. Queek's starting army is Clan Rats, Plagueclaw Catapult, Storm Vermin with Halberds, Clan Rats with Shield, Storm Vermin with Sword and Shield, and Gutter Runner Slingers. Here are his faction effects. He's all about them chieftains. Here's his start position. Can I show the lore tabs? We could do that, a separate thing of that later. They're pretty dense. Like, every once in a while I'll show them, but they're like, it's a lot. And there's a lot of stuff we have to show off today. Don't worry, like, we're gonna be streaming every day, guys. Every day. So don't y'all worry. I have unlimited stream time. There is no cap on how long I can do stuff for. Lord Skroak. From the infested ruins of Oaksiel, Lord Skroak spreads the plagues of pestilence throughout Lustria's heartlands. Here are his faction effects. Clan Rats with shields, Plague Claw catapults, Skaven slave slingers, and Plague monks. There you go. Here he is on the map. No way you're going to manage to stream every day? Fucking bet. Tzeentch Craventail. Tzeentch has returned home to scheme in Crookback Mountain and spread Clan Rictus's infestations over the Darklands. Here are his faction effects. His starting unit is Death Runners, Storm Vermin with Sword and Shield, Skaven Slave Spears, a Doom Wheel, and Skaven Slave Slingers. Tzeentch is actually cool now. There he is on the map. Ikit Claw. The Chief Warlock of Scryer returns to Skaven Blight to bring apocalypse to the world beyond the decay-ridden Undercity's borders. Here's the faction effects. His starting units are Clan Rats, Warplock Jezzails, Skaven Slaves, Rattling Guns, and Doom Flayers. Here he is on the map. Next up is Deathmaster Snitch. Everyone's favorite anime tryhard. Snitch has ventured to Shingpo in Cathay to garner more mastery of the arts of assassination for Clan Eshin. Here are his faction effects. Do we know when Immortal Empires will be released? August 23rd. His starting units are Night Runners, Poison Wind Mortars, Eshin Triads, Gutter Runners, Warp Grinders, Night Runners with Slings, and Clan Rats with Spears. Here he is on the map. Throt the Unclean. Throt's virulent experiments continue apace at Hellpit in the desolate Norscan mountains. Here are his faction effects. His starting units are Clan Rats with shields, Night Runners with slings, Wolf Rats, Skaven Slaves with spears, a mutant Rat Ogre, and Rat Ogres. Here he is on the map. Slaanesh! Long ago defeated by the High Elves of Ulthuan, Nakari has returned to the Shrine of Kurnos, seeking his vengeance in elven souls. Here are his faction effects. His starting units are the Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh with Hail Scourges, Demonettes of Slaanesh, Fiends of Slaanesh, Hellstriders of Slaanesh, Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh, and Hellflayers. Here he is on the map. How are things performance-wise? Very good. Very good. Have I found any game-breaking bugs? No. Have I found little bugs every once in a while? Yeah, I've found little things here and there. What are the devoted? So the Marauders that are like mutated, or they're literally just the Hellstriders on foot are called Devoted Marauders, because the new DLC, the Champions of Chaos DLC, is adding in Marauders of Slaanesh. So they had to call these guys something different. So these guys, so the dudes that are literally just Hellstriders on foot, they are Devoted Marauders, and they are exclusive to Monogod Slaanesh. If you're playing the Warriors of Chaos of Slaanesh, then you get marked Marauders of Slaanesh. Map loading is how long? You will see shortly. Tomb Kings! Settra. From the dunes of the Kimri Desert, Settra sets out to dominate Nehekara and force all false sovereigns to yield to him, King of Kings. Here are his faction effects. His starting army is Skeleton Archers, Skeleton Archer Chariots, Skeleton Warriors, and Tomb Guard with Halberds. No more kitty. Here is his start position. Kotep. Amongst the red desert dunes on Naggaroth's western coast, Grand Hierophant Khatep begins fulfilling his ambition to bring about the fabled Day of Awakening. His starting army is Nehekara warriors, Necropolis knights, Nehekara horsemen, and skeleton spearmen. No more Hyro Titan. Here is his starting effects. Here is his start position. High Queen Khalida. From the decayed splendor of Liberus, Khalida searches for the books of Nagash to prevent the power of the Black Pyramid from falling into unworthy hands. Here are the faction effects. Her starting units are skeleton horse archers, skeleton spearmen, skeleton archers, Ushabti with great bows, and screaming skull catapults. Here's the map. Next up, Archon the Black. In Araby's land of assassins, Archon the Black commences with his millennia-long ambition to deliver his empire of undeath. Here are his effects. His starting units. He has Crypt Ghouls. Also, Archon the Black has like buffed vampire count units instead of just regular vampire count units. So his Crypt Ghouls, unlike regular Crypt Ghouls, have physical resistance. Then he's got skeleton archers, skeleton spearmen, skeleton warriors. His hex rays have a 9% or an 8% ward save buff right at the start. And his Fellbats, I think they have missile resistance. But yeah. Here he is on the map. Does Archon the Black have a Mortis engine? No. God, Archon the Black would be fucking gross as shit with a Mortis engine. Tzeentch! The Oracle of Tzeentch has invaded from the southern wastes and conquered the Fortress of Dawn, his designs as unknowable as ever. Don't mind the stats, it's a bug. Just ignore it. Here are the effects. Starting units are Furies of Tzeentch, Pink Horrors, Chaos Knights, Blue Horrors, and an Exalted Flamer. Here he is on the map. Is there a noticeable difference on the legendary difficulty between this and Warhammer 2? Oh, yes. I will show you all. We're almost to the end, guys, and then I'm going to show you something spicy.
All fear that
The Vampire Coast. Luther Harkin dominates his stretch of the Lustrian coastline from the Awakening, mustering his undead crew in readiness to sail the Great Ocean. Here are his faction effects. His starting units are Zombie Pirate Deckhand Mob with pistols, Deck Droppers with handguns, Scurvy Dogs, Deck Droppers, Animated Hulks, Bloated Corpse, and Mortars. Here he is on the map. Count Noctilus. Count Noctilus sails to Ulthuan's western shores from the ethereal depths of Galleon's graveyard to ravage the world once more. Here are his starting effects. You'll notice that he actually is very buddy with the followers of Nagash now. That used to be a Luther Harkin exclusive. But now Noctilus has also joined up with Team Nagash. Zombie Pirate Deckhand Mob. Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob with handguns. Necrofex Colossus and Depth Guard. Depth Guard are also fucking amazing now. They are much better. Here he is on the map. Is the sale still going? Yeah, there's still sales going. If you type in !Fanatical, a link will pop up and you can buy, I think, any of the Total War Warhammer stuff on sale. And if you use that link, I'll even get a small cut. So you'll save money, I'll make money, everybody wins. But I'll actually see if I could talk to the Fanatical guys. They're actually usually pretty chill, and I'll see if I can get them to do some other bonuses. RNS Assault Spite. Amidst the broken docks of Sartosa, RNS Assault Spite gathers a vast rabble of loyal crew ready to help spread her infamy across the high seas. Here are her faction effects. Her starting units are Sartosa Free Company, Deck Gunners, Sartosa Militia, Rotting Prometheans, Scurvy Dogs, and Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob with bombs. Is the link broken? I don't know if it's it might be broken. Brandon, are you here? Also, my fucking favorite change. Okay, Brandon's looking into it. My favorite change for the Vampire Coast, RNS Assault Spite. She gets Sartosan units at level 1 ports. You know what she gets from level 3? Oh, there's an ad? Okay, I'll wait. Here's her start position. Oh, sorry. It's not exclamation mark fanatical. I'm so stupid. It's exclamation mark
Peasant!
affiliate.
Peasant!
There we go. Let me know when the ad's done, chat. The ad is done. Okay. From level 3 ports, Aranessa, Salt Spiked, and Sartosa can recruit Ogre Man-Eaters with pistols. We got Ogre Crew on Aranessa ships, lads. Fucking Ogre Crew! It's awesome. It's so good. So Aranessa can now have a living army of Sartosan infantry backed up by ogres.
The final.
Solostra Deerfan. Solostra has washed ashore at the Twisted Glade in Nagaroth, seeking out new audiences for her Siren Song. Her starting units are Zombie Pirate Deckhands Mob with pole arms, Gunnery Mob, Carronades, Sirens, and Morngulls. Here are her starting effects. Here they are on the map. Vampire Counts, who have received a shitload of changes. Manfred has taken residence in Kasabar, whence he hunts across the Kimri Desert by night, seeking out the lost wisdom of the Books of Nagash. Here are his starting effects. His starting units are Graveguard, Zombies, Black Knights, Skeleton Warriors, Vargeis, and Direwolves. Here he is on the map. Yeah, the Drakenhof Conclave. Very good. You can see he's buddies with vampiric factions and the followers of Nagash. We will take a look at some vampire count stuff. Do I think the vampire counts are bad now? No, I think they're way better. I did not like the old system. The old system basically pigeonholed you into running 20 stacks of fucking trash, and it was like the only way to play it, and I was not a fan. Next up,
Let us make doom.
Heinrich Kimmler. Oh, I need to check something. Oh. Hold up. Sorry. All right. Heinrich Kimmler. The Lichmaster prowls his old wanderings in the Grey Mountains, plotting his next move against sworn enemies in nearby Bretonnia and the Empire. Here are his starting effects. His starting units are Skeleton Spearmen, Direwolves, Zombies, Crypt Ghouls, Cairn Wraiths, and Hex Wraiths. Kimmler has actually received a lot of buffs to spirit units. Here he is on the map. The Lord of Undeath ability is Krell? Yes, it's the Krell summon. Right from the garrison icon, there's a new icon with a number. I don't know. I have to go look at it.
The von Karstein.
Vlad von Karstein. Vlad has returned home to his rightful seat at Castle Drakenhof to rule over Sylvania with his wife Isabella at his side. Sylvania. His starting army is Graveguard, a Black Coach, Fellbats, and Vargeis. Here is his starting army, or effects. This is so fucking strong, by the way. 50% battle healing cap when he's in an army with Isabella. It is so fucking... That means he gets 50% additional healing max. It's a lot of heals. Here he is on the map.
Queen of Darkness.
Isabella von Karstein. Isabella has returned home to her rightful seat at Castle Drakenhof to rule over Sylvania with her husband Vlad at her side. Here are her effects. Her starting army is the exact same. Here she is on the map. It's a Lord effect, so it's the entire army. So it's not that Vlad has 50% extra healing. It's everything in Vlad's army has 50% more healing capacity. Anon guy, thanks so much for the gifted subs. All right, that's the only people care about in the vampire count, so we're gonna move on now because nobody else cares about who's left in the vampire counts. Helmengorst! Gorst's caravan has traveled the Ivory Road from Sylvania as far as the haunted forest on the gateway to Cathay, spreading a plague of undeath in its wake. The caravan of the Blue Roses. His starting units are a Mortis engine, zombies, crypt ghouls, corpse cart with unholy lodestone, and crypt horrors. You'll notice his faction effects, including a bound spell Lesser Raise Dead for all corpse cart and Mortis engines faction wide. He also is immune to all plague attrition, and he is immune to contact effects. So immune to contact effects means that Gorst and his army cannot be affected by poison, blinded, anything that results that requires them to be hit in order for it to go off doesn't work on them. Here he is on the map. Check his lore page. There you go. Warriors of Chaos. Enjoy the new Archaon movie. It's so good. He looks so... Dorgar looks so much better. The Everchosen sets out to dominate the Chaos Waste with his will and ferocity, starting at the Writhing Fortress. Here are his starting effects. Archaon gets really fucking scary. His research rate can get absolutely hilarious. Here's his starting army. Marauders, Chaos Knights of Tzeentch, Chaos Warriors of Khorne, Chaos Warriors, Hellstriders of Slaanesh with Hail Scourges, and Spawn of Nurgle. Here he is on the map. Next up, another new movie. Kolek Suneater. Remember that guy? Rip. Kolek seeks to claim the monolithic Challenge Stone north of the Mountains of Morn to seek out his own dark designs. Here are his faction bonuses. I want you to pay special attention to this faction buff. Kolek gains 5% weapon strength, mass, and armor for every vassalized faction. Think about that. Every vassal he gets 5% extra weapon strength, mass, and armor. Shit gets crazy. His starting army is Marauders, Dragon Ogres, Chaos Warhounds with Poison, and Chaos Trolls. Here are his bonuses. Here he is on the map. Sigvald also has a new movie.
I am Slaanesh's scion.
Is he killing someone? Nope. He's looking in a mirror from an AOS unit. That's all he does. He's just looking at himself. He's checking himself out. Sigvald emerges from the Palace of Princes in the Chaos Waste, where begins his forays of self-gratifying pleasure. Here are his faction effects. His starting units is Marauders, Chaos Warriors, Spawn of Slaanesh, Hellstriders of Slaanesh with Hail Scourges, and Chaos Chariots. Here he is on the map. Be'lakor.
We shall enact my vengeance.
Gosh. The Dark Master seeks to dominate the primitive mortals in the land of Albion. Oh gosh. Here are his faction effects. His starting army is Bloodletters of Khorne, Blue Horrors of Tzeentch, Chaos Warriors, Spawn of Slaanesh, Plague Bearers of Nurgle, Marauders, Demonettes of Slaanesh, and Spawn of Tzeentch. Here's on the map. Wood Elves. Orion is reborn and roused to Athel Loren's defense, emerging from Bretonia's forest of Shalons to smite all threats to the sacred groves. Here are his faction effects. His starting army is Eternal Guard, Wild Riders with shields, Deepwood Scouts, and Eternal Guard with shields. Here is his starting faction. Are the Warriors of Chaos hordes? No, there is no true horde faction left in the game. The closest thing there is to a true horde now is Nakai, because Nakai cannot take settlements and he only builds horde buildings, but even he like creates vassals. Durthu strides out from Athel Loren into the Grey Mountains to unleash the lashing tendrils of the forest's mighty wrath. Here are his faction effects. Isn't the Beastmen still a horde? Kind of, but Beastmen can take settlements because they establish herdstones. So no, they're not a true horde. His starting army is Dryads, Treekin, Glade Guard, and a Tree Man. Here is his start position. The Sisters of Twilight. The Sisters of Twilight rejuvenate the world's magical forests and destroy all who threaten them, starting with the withering witchwood of Nagaroth. Here are their faction effects. Their starting units are the Eternal Guard, Great Eagle, Hawk Riders, and Deepwood Scouts. Here they are on the map. How many players can you have in a multiplayer game? You can have up to 8 people in a campaign, and in a multiplayer battle, I think you can have up to 8 as well. But you have to like pick teams. Drycha. From the deepest reaches of the Empire's forest, Drycha administers blood-drenched punishment to all who threaten her sacred home. Here are her faction effects. Her starting units are Malevolent Dryads, Malevolent Treemen, Malevolent Treekin. Here she is on the map. And she has access to 2 new units, which are Bears and Ice Bears. And that concludes our tour of all the legendary lords.